Nihilism is the assertion that life is meaningless. While this thought system has gone through many variations and adjustments, the core idea remains and can be seen in certain areas of our culture. It can be seen in books, television, movies, video games, stage plays, art, and psychology.
I thought my jokes were bad.
Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is considered by many cinephiles to be the quintessential portrayal of the character. This is due to the actor's highly methodical approach to character study as well as his commitment to psychological details. If you've watched this scene repeatedly or watched an analysis on the character, you have probably noticed some of these details. He carries himself like a crime boss, an unhinged maniac, and an embittered ex-military operative simultaneously. You can catch glimpses of his post-traumatic stress-induced anxiety in the scene when he is reasoning with the mobsters. Watch how he reacts to this insult.
You see a guy like me.
Freak.
A guy like me. Look, listen.
He seems almost hurt by this comment, but it might be hard, especially on your first viewing, to decipher whether or not the Joker is just pretending to be hurt. The character of the Joker has been, and always will be, embodied by chaos and unpredictability. This is why we see him toying with these mobsters, like a cat toying with her prey. Ultimately, his actions are not in service of a larger purpose or motive. They are nihilistic.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
Chaos leads me to my next point, which is identity. Multiple times throughout The Dark Knight, Joker claims that he is not crazy.
You're crazy. I'm not. No, I'm not.
And definitely not a guy with a plan.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
He claims that he just wreaks havoc and chaos in order to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are. He maintains that he is not a schemer despite an obvious practical contradiction.
I'm not a schemer.
We know that weeks, if not months, of planning would be required in order to orchestrate timing and details for all of his crimes in the film. He also tells a different origin story to different victims in the film, which can be interpreted as a way of throwing them off of his scent, or it can be interpreted as a way of spreading more chaos.
Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Film noir is an extension of nihilism, but not actual nihilism. The root of the genre comes from the French noir, meaning black. This was a phrase used to describe a particular wave of black and white detective crime films in the 1940s and 1950s. They were known for their pessimism, cynicism, and overall dark tones and themes. These were movies for adults about murder, lust, and betrayal. Besides the themes explored, these were generally very dark visually in the lighting and cinematography. Lots of night scenes, deep shadows, and high contrast. The images themselves were crafted in a way to evoke intensity, but also ambiguity. The lack of an illuminated background in many shots tends to leave more room for focus on subjects. The shadows fill the edges of the frame, highlighting the stage like a Baroque painting. The chiaroscuro style does originate from Renaissance-era painting techniques, just as Fumato was born of the mind of Leonardo da Vinci, and Tenebrism was from Caravaggio. Using gradations of light, these artists pioneered the way for film artists like Alfred Hitchcock, Fritz Lang, Orson Welles, John Ford, and Billy Wilder. It can be observed that this same visual configuration translated into Neo Noir, with films like The Two Jakes, Seven, Chinatown, and LA Confidential. Though these films are separated by slight narrative differences, they hold common ground in the area of stylization. Roman Polanski's direction is different from David Fincher's, of course, but insofar as they share the tenebrous world of noir, they occupy the same territory. Jake Gitz might reasonably occupy the same world as Somerset and Mills, Andrew Kevin Walker's story is ambiguous enough in location that it could be almost any major metropolis. Michael Mann's Heat is another notable neo-noir story with similar techniques to those previously mentioned. Mann's poetic and often subversive dialogue in this script is renowned and often imitated by younger writers in the industry. Possibly the greatest example is Christopher Nolan. This brings us back to The Dark Knight, the Joker, and Batman.
I'm Batman.
Large sequences such as the bank heist in The Dark Knight draw heavily from Heat. Even the way the gunshots echo later on in the film is a direct inspiration from the famous shootout. Besides their common ancestry in the film family tree and some remarkable narrative similarities, the two films share a deep psychological connection. The film noir roots are part of this picture, but the real commonality is in the concepts of order and chaos, two relatively simple terms used to describe the most fundamental forces in the universe. Joker is an agent of chaos, representing all the disorder and evil and malevolence in the world, while Batman represents order. Joker's endgame is not a conventional endgame because he is not a conventional villain. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy, but not for personal gain. He does so in order to flip the world upside down, burning all potentiality and corrupting all that is good. As it relates to Heat, Joker is not a parallel at all of Neil Macaulay in the movie or in real life. The conclusion in Michael Mann's film was that both the cop and criminal share a basic human fallibility, as well as a desire to twist reality to their favor. While Joker is an archetypal villain, Macaulay is a tragically human character. Nihilism is, in fact, the only thing separating the two. Ultimately, this portrayal of the Joker is a criminal stripped of his remaining morality, a common villain pulled from the smoky streets of ethically ambiguous film noir and reduced to a demon of nihilism.
Criminals in his town used to believe in things. Honor, respect.
What do you believe? What do you believe?
The Joker doesn't believe in anything. The Joker doesn't love anything. He simply wants to watch the world burn.